Hello everybody, welcome back to Asa Nation. Today we have one of the exotic cars that ever graced the world, the Nissan GTR R35. For those who know, this is the ultimate sports car that has ever come out of Japan and graced the world. So I'll take you on the tour around the car, and then probably maybe we can have a short drive, and then you get to feel how this thing drives. But this thing is a monster. Yeah, so we will start with a tour around it. We can start from here. We have the GTR logo, we have the carbon fiber bits here, and then the bumper here, not modified in any way. Let's come around here. You can see just normal bi-xenon headlights. That's for main beam, and then halogen, normal halogen for full beam. Yeah, so normal bumper with this skirt down here, and nothing in particular or to call out about that. Side markers, lights here, 20-inch alloy rim, and Brembo brakes, if you can see. They are fitted as standard to this car. You can also look at the size of the disc. That is about 40 millimeters in terms of the diameter, and then the 20-inch Pirelli Pilot Sport F110 for that. Yeah, come to the side here. We also have a GTR logo here. We also have some vents here for cooling. The vents are actually active, so air comes from the front through the wheels to cool the brakes, and then exits through here for that streamlined aerodynamics. And then we come up here, just normal side mirrors, nothing in particular about that. On the side here, this is how the door lock handles were designed. So you just have to press here, the handle comes up, and then you unlock it that way. That is the cool little feature on the GTR. Yeah, we'll still go around. You can look at my height against the height of the car. So for this sports car, they are meant to be that low to the ground to aid to have the center of gravity that low for the maneuverability and the stability of the car, having that these things do immense speeds on tracks as well as on the road. Yeah, so that is my height, and that is the height of the car. I am not the tallest human being, especially height, not somewhere else, but yeah, that is the height of the car. So here we have a spoiler, which is carbon fiber. It's not metallic, this is carbon fiber. And then we have LED tail lights here, the two of them here, so the indicators at the middle, as well as reverse lights at the middle. So coming down here, we have quad tailpipes. We have two on this end, we also have two on that end. So no diffuser here, just normal bumper here with some little mesh here for cooling, because we have the mufflers just behind this bumper, so that vent for cooling. The GTR badge here, the third brake light on the spoiler here. This spoiler is fixed, not like the other cars we have, like the Porsche, whereby the spoilers move up and down depending on the speed of the car, or depending on the braking force required. Yeah, so yeah, that is it, how it is designed at the back. And then coming here on the side, we also have reflectors, also known as side markers. And then we have the fuel cap here, normal, just like other cars, other Nissans. And then back here also 20-inch Pilot Sport. If you can just zoom in here, see the size of the tire. This is 315 by 35 R20. So this means the width of the tire is 315 millimeters, and then the height of the tire is 35 millimeters, and then the size of the rim is 20 inches in diameter. That is what this means. More information about tires, date of manufacture, and what have you, we'll cover that later in another episode. But then also Brembo brake pads, and as well as brake discs and caliper here. These calipers are 3 piston at the back and then 4 pistons at the front, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so if we continue, just like the other side, door handles as well that way, nothing too specific about it. And that is it. Wipers like a normal car. Then come to the bonnet. The bonnet itself is also carbon fiber, just for weight reduction. For those who know, carbon fiber is one of the lightest in terms of weight, but the toughest or strongest material to make things out of. So we have scoops here for cooling as well. Yeah, let's look under the bonnet. Yeah, the only disappointment for me is this thing was designed like just any other normal Nissan or any other car. We don't have dampers for the hood, but this strip here, just like for a normal car. So what does a GTR pack under the bonnet? So in here we have a 3.8 liter twin turbo V6. What does that mean? We have a 3800 cc engine with 2 turbos strapped on it. So this is the inlet for the driver's side, inlet for the passenger side, and then these are the cooling pipes for the throttle bodies. And then we definitely have fuel injections on the side. Then we have the 2 turbos just under here on the exhaust manifolds, this side here as well as that side. And then the inlets for the turbo are here and there. This is the MAF sensors for the 2. Yeah, every other thing here is normal. Coolant expansion tank, radiator cap and all that. The radiator is just under this bracket here. So what is exotic about these cars is when these cars were launched back in 2007, at least for the very first few units, these cars were so unique that no single gearbox would work on another engine that was not mated onto as from factory. So one engine would be made hand-built, and then a gearbox would be mated to that hand-built as well, and they would not share a gearbox whatsoever. That is how these things were exotic when they were coming out. Yeah, so battery position here, just a normal battery. If you ask me, I would say it's too small for the car, but anyway, you only need battery for starting and running a few electronics like the stereo or probably the air conditioning, of which gets power assisted when the car comes on, power from the alternator. Yeah, so having that everything happening here, temperatures go a bit higher. That's why we have these vents here that come out of the hood as the hood scoops. Under here, normal auxiliary belt, just like any other car. To replace it, you just have to play with this tensioner, bring it up here, lock it in this hole, and then the belt comes and done. Nothing in particular other than the performance of this engine. I don't think there's anything to call out more than that. This is the magnificence of the Japanese auto industry in terms of sports cars. This was the let's say Porsche 911 killer or competitor and such, Audi R8 and such, because those are the cars that are competing actively with this car in that class. So this 3.8 twin turbo V6 as stock from the company, from the factory without tuning, they varied from at least 450 horsepower to about 650 horsepower, and the torque figures also varying from about 467 Newton meters to all the way to 700 Newton meters. But for those who have seen videos on YouTube probably and elsewhere, these cars can be tuned to as much as 1200 horsepower. For those who watch some of the UK videos, there was one that appeared on Kawa tuned by, I don't know whether that was Panda or some other company, that was churning out about 1100, 1200 horsepower from this very engine, but although with a little tweaks in terms of the engine being bored out to larger volumes, as well as a few injection tricks done to it, plus ECU tuning just to get that amount of power out of it. And then if you do that again, you also have to work on your brakes and everything else that would suffer from the power increase. You know, the more the power you get out of an engine, the more braking points you reach faster. So the more power you churn out from the smaller engine, the more things tend to wear out a little faster than normal. Yeah, so I believe you have seen what a GTR packs under the bonnet. In here it's pretty packed, but not as much. Something to mention here, this still used the hydraulic steering pump. So this is the hydraulic reservoir, and then this is the power steering pump. So no electronics that were here from the beginning. Yeah, that is it from under the hood. We will now go to the inside and look at what is there. Yeah, so getting into the GTR, this is how the GTR key looks like. Nothing sophisticated, just a normal Nissan key. The key to your TIDA and the key to your Nissan Note probably looks like this. So you just have the GTR logo, you have the lock button, unlock button, and then the unlock button for the boot. So in the Nissan GTR, just like a normal car, we have the glove box here. Not as big. You can just probably put a few little things in here, your paperwork and such. This is just a door light that has been replaced. AC vents here, just normal, like any other car. This part is leather, as well as the dashboard is leather, with a speaker up here. So we have some screen here to show you vehicle configuration informations, like your G-force, it has a G meter, and your fuel efficiency, performance, and all that. Yeah, on the dashboard, normal clocks, we have your speedo over here. So this thing has a top speed of 340, but I know they were limited to about 350 kilometers per hour from factory. You have your tachometer at the center here, and also known as the rev counter. You have your fuel gauge over here, as well as temperature gauge over here. So we'll just put the ignition on here, then we can start it. You can look at the screen here, the display screen that has various information. First of all, in Japanese, you can see your fuel range, your speed also comes here, accelerating and braking, G-force, that is your G meter. And then under here on the center console, you have your radio, although by then Nissan was still fitting analog radios. You have your disc, you have your auxiliary, as well as TV for the screen. And also you had the button here for power, on and off, and then volume, as well as tuning and fine tuning your radio if you are listening to radio. So AC control here, dual AC, this one for the driver side and this one for the passenger side. Control modes here for driving configurations. So GTR R mode, so if you just wanted performance for everything, the brakes, you put them on R mode, racing, suspension, racing mode, and then the differential locks also race mode, or if you would want it to have it in snow mode, suspension in comfort mode, or if you want to have traction control all the way off, then your hazard switch. So those are the few things that you had. Under here you had the slot for your CD, because this car still had a CD changer in it. Yeah, so a sports car that had both a stereo as well as air conditioning in it. So this is how the GTR gear lever looks like. Yeah, so nothing in particular to call out. Forgive the reflection from the sun. Yeah, so you just have your parking, reverse, neutral, and then on this other end you will have drive. So parking there, reverse, neutral, and then drive. On drive you either have it in manual mode, and then you change gear using these paddle shifters here. This side for shifting down, and then on the right side for shifting up. But also you could just have it in automatic mode so that it changes gear by itself. This had a 6-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, but also with manual mode here. So the starter button is here. You can have it onto accessory, just the key in the car. It senses the key. If you can just put here, and then we will start it so that you can hear how it roars with exhaust. Yeah, so foot on the brake, ignition on. That is how it lights up. Your gear positioning over there, and the gauges as I had shown you, the warning lights and all that. Yeah, so we'll just start it up, and then there we go. Listen to that. Yes, so we'll start it once again, and then we can just fiddle around with all the buttons so that you see what happens. So yeah, so on the steering wheel here you have adjustment for the steering wheel. Just under here you can adjust it to whatever side you want. Something unique is, however you adjust the steering wheel, it moves with your gauge cluster, so that whatever position you have, you still have visibility on your gauges through this part here. So you can just adjust it, move it down there, up and down, and then you can lock it back into position like so. So looking at the steering wheel here, we have a few controls here. We have the source button for your stereo, the volume up and down. It's a knob like so. Yeah, so the GTR was also fitted with the Bose stereo, Bose system. For those who know those, I think you know Bose, Harman Kardon, Bang & Olufsen are some of the best in the business. So you have the seek button for your stereo as well, and then you had these for the voice command as well as Bluetooth, and then receiving and ending calls, as well as on and off for the stereo, cancelling whatever you had selected. And then this one here was for cruise control and cost setting. So you set your cruise control and then you adjust it using this. So for the paddle shifters, you use this for shifting down, this for shifting up. So this is how you put it into gear. You have this switch on top of the gear lever, press it down and then into reverse like so. It had a reversing camera for a sports car, that is, and then we put it into drive down here. So two options: either you have it in full automatic mode on this end, or you have it in manual mode on this end. And then when you do that, if you can just zoom in here, my producer can zoom in here, you can see we have the gauge, the gear display here. So we have one manual, first gear, manual mode. So if I flip it back to automatic, you will just see, so you'll just see that goes into automatic first gear. And then your temperature gauge and your fuel gauge, yeah, a bit low on fuel, but nothing to worry about. It still has a lot of fuel that we can have it roaring as we do our things. Yeah, so your mirror controls are here, just like a normal car. It's a sports car, but some controls just like a normal car. So here you toggle that to the right to adjust the right mirror, and then to the left to adjust the left mirror, that one over there. Yeah, so that is that on the steering wheel and the controls. So the head lining here is just a normal cloth. As you can see, this guy is a bit lower, and for people who are over 6 feet can struggle a little bit with the headroom, but for those just under 6 feet, it's quite okay. Sitting position, we have these bucket seats that hug you nicely, and then we have this mechanical handbrake, old school. Yeah, then we have two cup holders here, for whatever caps you have, and then we have this other storage compartment here that would store nothing really, probably just your phone and your wallet. So we have a 12-volt socket down here. Then we also had some HDI inputs here for probably plugging in your and OBD for plugging in your computer or your diagnostic kit. At the back here we had the Bose subwoofers here, and then the back seats are also leather and sort of bucketry as well. But if you can look just under there, you will notice that this car really does not have any legroom. This car was engineered for the driver, for the truck or the road for that matter, but not for rear passengers. So not to sound any discriminatory or rude, but I think this car would have people with let's say people who are deficient in the department of limbs, lower limbs, to the tune of 2. Technically I'm just saying people with no legs, not to be discriminatory, but yeah. So the back seats here are useless, they cannot be used. This car is just for the driver and probably the passenger on this other side. Yeah, sun visors here with vanity mirrors and some light here, your sunglasses storage here, reading lights or interior lights here, sun visor as well on the co-driver side or the passenger side with vanity mirror as well. Yeah, and that sums up the interior of the GTR. Just to mention some few metallic aluminium like finish, but it's entirely plastic. Some little wear and tear on this panel here. It has been on record, this was also on Top Gear, nothing moves quicker off the line than a GTR. An experiment done, I remember when Clarkson and Tim were in Australia. James May had a GTR, and then they had a drag race where Clarkson and Hammond claimed to find which one would be faster or quicker off the line. And then Hammond May launched his and then stopped. He didn't complete the drag race because he had won. Because looking back on the footage, this thing was the quickest and still is the quickest. An experiment was conducted where a sheet was placed on the table, and then a few utensils, glasses, plates were placed on the table, and then the tablecloth was hooked onto the GTR, and then it was launched away. A lot of the utensils remained standing on the table with the GTR gone with the cloth. So this is how quick this thing is with its over 500 horsepower. So, and that is the feel inside the GTR. That is the sound of the GTR. Probably we can take a few shots of how it sounds from the outside and how it looks from the back once more. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, click on the like button to make sure that it is suggested to many people and we can grow together. Also make sure to click on the bell icon to make sure that whatever we do, whatever we post, you're notified well in time. I would want to shout out to one of our biggest supporters on Aswa Nation, and this is probably, I would say with no fear of doubt, the biggest motoring YouTube channel in the country, Conversations. Eric Wakabi, you're doing a good job. You've supported us, we'll keep supporting you. For our viewers, please support these two channels. Make sure that you support us to the levels that we can be able to give you alternate content, differing ideas, differing opinions, but all in the way of educating you, informing you, entertaining you, and making sure that you're making informed decisions or purchases, looking out for cars, vehicles, reviews and all that. So please guys, subscribe to Aswa Nation, subscribe to Conversation as well. For those who have subscribed already, thank you very much. Please keep referring it to your friends. Let's grow together. We'll get outside and then have the sound of the GTR come out. now go and look at how big the boot is and how much luggage you can put in. So the unlock for the boot, yeah, you just unlock it, and then this is how big the boot is. Not so big. This is a sports car. It's not for camping or what have you or anything, so it's not as big, but big enough for you to have your own personal luggage and a few other items if you are traveling. So normal shocks for the boot, dampers, the cloth cover here, nothing in particular to call out here. On the floor here, nothing in particular. There is no spare wheel in a GTR. You probably maybe get tire repair kit, but yeah, that is it for this car and for the boot. So that is it, guys, for the boot and the GTR all round. I guess now you have a feel of being up close with the GTR. So let's find out whether we can have a quick spin just around the place here to get how the GTR feels and drives on the road. Probably have the air conditioning on. Yeah, we will go for a quick spin. The sun is hot, but welcome on board. Get the feeling of the GTR. This thing wants to spin its wheel in first gear on takeoff. Yeah, so a quick ride. The sitting position in here, you sit nice and low. Typical Kenyan bumps. I'll have to zigzag. This is painful, having a sports car on African roads where we have mountains for bumps. Yeah, and that is it. Being overtaken by a Mercedes C-Class that thinks it's an off-roader on the bump. Yeah, so you sit nice and low, very low, for that feeling of a sports car. Yeah, feel that. Second gear, third gear. The shift is smooth. Being a car guy, you can notice when the revs change, when the gears shift, but you can just watch the instrument cluster on the gear display. So the ride in here, just like any other sports car, is quite firm. You can't tell from the vibrations you can see probably on the camera, or the bumpiness of the car. So sports suspension are set up to handle, are set up for cornering, so they are too stiff for normal driving, too stiff for normal street roads. Yeah, so on the junction here, we'll just wait a little, and then yeah. This thing is soft. This thing is quite nice to drive actually. A little flooring. Ooh, already doing 100 kilometers per hour. We'll slow down here. We don't want to upset anybody on the road. Yeah, indicate, change lanes. Air conditioning just like any other car. It's nice and cold. On the passenger side as well. Not bad to live with. You can as well stop in the traffic jam and have it just like any other normal car, other than people having to look at you, because it's quite a rare car. It's quite an exotic car. So everybody around you will be looking at you, so you can choose to roll down your window and say hi, probably smile at them, and do some funny gestures to kids from the other cars. Yeah, but technically for daily driving, if you buy these cars, they are not for daily driving. The only people who buy these cars as a daily driver are the typical people, we say the people who have more money than sense. Yeah. Through the short drive, you can feel the sportiness of it in terms of just being bumpy. You can get the exhaust note even from sitting in here, a typical Nairobi traffic jam. These cars are not bought by the sort of people who switch off their engines when you come to stoplights. Yeah, nobody buys a sports car on a budget. Yeah, we'll just take a quick turn here and go back to where we've come from. Very smooth in terms of power delivery. As we say, this is one of the fastest things on the planet. The shifts are quite smooth. We are doing 60 kilometers per hour. It's already in 5th gear and just coasting along because we're not flooring it, we're not racing, we are not on the racetrack. We are on a public road on a Sunday. And this is how you set all these driver configurations. So for traction, you leave the button up for a few seconds. We are in race mode. Suspension up for a few seconds, race mode active, and then traction up for a few seconds, and the differential race mode active. Everything is in race mode, so we are ready to attack. Nothing really we can attack in traffic, so just showing you how these things work, and then we will go back to being sad in the Nairobi traffic jam. The shifts are so smooth and so quick. That is what you get with dual clutch transmission. Yeah, so also people who buy sports cars, they are not the typical BMW drivers nor Subaru boys. So we do observe traffic rules. We also stop on a stoplight. Somebody hooting at me, something typical with Kenyan drivers. As soon as the other lights go green for people who are going dead straight or people who are going the other side of the road, somebody will out of nowhere hoot at you. Immediately the lights turn yellow. Not knowing that on this outer lane we are turning to the extreme right. Yeah, so we will just wait for a turn. That is the acceleration. Woo! You can never feel anything of that sort in any other car. The G-force in this thing can break your neck. I can't say anything more. Probably my face can tell you what one feels when driving this car. It's all smiles. Not unless you hit someone from behind or someone hits you from behind. Okay, probably we can just do that once more. Foot on the floor. Whoa. Damn. For the people who call their Fielders their Premiums and their Pajeros beasts, you actually need to go back to the car dictionary probably and find out what a beast is, or what cars can you call beasts. Probably you can look at how this thing turns everybody's head. A few matatus blocking us. Turn here. Reverse it into parking. How easy is it to park this thing? So easy, just a normal car. When you drive it normally, when you're not on the race track. It's a quite normal Nissan. For the Kenyans who think Eric Okabi hates Nissans, no, he doesn't. He just tells you the blatant truth about Nissans and their behavior after some time of owning it. Old school, we do not really depend on the reverse camera. We depend on our necks and our eyes. Yeah, and that is it, guys. That is it for the GTR ride. Overall, it's quite a car. Nothing more to say, lost for words, for the immense power this thing has and the handling, but we've not really tested any handling bits of it. But yeah, that is how a GTR fails, and that is how a GTR looks like. Yeah, so still, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, click on the bell icon, make sure that you're notified on every video we do post. Also visit Conversation, and make sure you also subscribe to this channel and their channel as well. Thank you very much. Catch up with you in the next video.